Okay, so we can start now. Am I audible to everyone? Okay, so hello everyone. I am Vikas Sangai, and along with me, I have Upayande and Om Mittal, two of my teammates from the team Takeabyte. So this is a short intro, or more of a like a doubt solving session regarding the ICPC season 2024-25. We will be going through what ICPC is and mainly regarding how our team can register for the same. So, Om, if you would move to the next slide. So, coming to what ICPC is, uh, ICPC stands for the International Collegiate Programming Contest, which is basically an algorithmic, or we can say a competitive programming contest for college student. It is the oldest, largest, and the most prestigious programming contest for college students. Similarly, we also have the IOI for high school students. We have ICPC for the college students. And the format for ICPC is three students, exactly three students from the same team, from the same university. Now, moving on, these are a few pictures of our ICPC season where we went to the Amritapuri and the Kanpur regionals, and then we also qualified for the Asia West Continent Finals last year, and we were only the second team from Jadavpur University to reach the same, alongside B for Brute Force, who were the first team to reach the World Finals as well. Moving to the next slide. Now, coming to the format of ICPC, it is a tiered contest. There are four tiers. We have the prelims, the online prelims, the regionals, the offline regionals, then the continent finals, and finally the world finals. Just like move to the slide for the prelims part first. Yeah, so the online prelims, like the online prelims are, you can give the online prelims from your home, and it is a 2 hour long contest held on cold drills, and each team member gets his own separate account, and you need to register for, like, there are, for the regionals, there are three regionals in India. You need to register for, you can register for at max two regionals every year, and it is a 2 hour long contest. You get about a minimum of four and a maximum of seven questions. Now you can move to please move to the regional slide. Coming to regionals, uh, it is an offline contest. You need to travel to the hosting college of every regional. It is a 5 hour long offline contest, and no online resources are allowed. And each team is given a single PC. And you also get to carry a 25-page ICPC reference book, which is it is basically a code book that which can contain any and all of your templates like algorithms and data structures and all of that. And as said previously, you can participate in only two regionals every year. You can move to the next slide. Yeah, so the format of ICPC is, there is a first online preliminary round, which is going to be held this year on 11th November from 4 to 6 p.m. All the dates are tentative. And then we have three regionals, that is Amritapuri from Kerala, Chennai, and Kanpur. Uh, each of the three regionals, they have their on site, that is the offline regionals, on the dates mentioned here. And then we have the Asia West Continent Finals, which would be held in March 2025, followed by the World Finals. Now, coming to the prelims, there are like, there is no restriction on the number of teams participating from every university, but for the regionals, only the top three, at max the top three teams per university can qualify. Yeah, the qualification criteria, like the qualification criteria varies year to year from regional to regional, and each regional has a particular number of slots. Like Kanpur and Chennai, they have 100 fixed slots, and Amritapuri has a varying slot, and it is in general 250 slots every year. By slots, I mean the total number of teams that can take part in the offline regional. So Kanpur and Chennai, they select 100 teams every year, and Amritapuri selects close to 250 teams every year. And usually, 1 to 3 teams are selected per college, Like one team is selected, and at max it can go up to three. Coming to the selection criteria, now for Kanpur and Chennai, they have fixed selection criteria. So for Kanpur and Chennai, what they basically do is only the first team per college. That is, the first team per college is selected for the Kanpur and Chennai regionals. And Amrita Puri has a very dynamic selection criteria, and they don't reveal their criteria until the prelims are done. And every year you can only register for two regionals. Like you can, there are three here, like Amrita Puri, Kanpur, and Chennai. You can only register for any of the two regionals. And there are cases where teams they try to register for all the three regionals. If you do that, then before the online prelims are held, you will be asked by the ICPC team to remove yourself from any of the one regional. So, and you're like you have to remove yourself from any of the one regionals if you register for all three of them. Now, and a pro tip from our side. So as Amritapuri has the most slots, so it obviously it has the most number of competition. Like according to, like from the last year stats, around 2000 teams participated from the for the Amritapuri regional, and there were around 1200 teams in the Kanpur, in the online prelims of the Kanpur regional, whereas Chennai was the newest regional last year. So Chennai had only about say 500 teams in the online prelims for the last regional. And one more important point, there is a single, I repeat, a single online prelims for all the regional. So there is only one contest, but each of the regional, they prepare their own rank list depending on the number of teams that have registered for that regional slot. Now, moving to the registration process. So, as said before, there are teams of three that is required from the same college. Like the department can vary, as in our case. So Upan and are from CSC, and I am from IT. So you can have you can have people from multiple departments. However, the college must be the same. And one more main point regarding ICPC is you need a college faculty to register you. That is a professor and assistant professor, any college faculty, and the who is called a coach. Now this coach will register your team in the website, that is the icpc.global website. And after that, the team leader, like any of your team member, once the registration is done, you would have to pay the online prelims fees for each of the regional. So the online prelims fees is 1100 rupees per team, and you need to pay for each of the regional that you are registering. So for one regional, it is like whatever regional you are registering for, you can visit their website as mentioned here, and you would find the details regarding how to make the payment and all of that. And now Upan will be going through the process as to how your coach can register your team for the season.
Yeah. So am I audible?
Yes, Upan, you are audible.
Okay, okay. Thanks. Let me just share my screen. Uh, just let me know once my screen is visible.
Visible.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is
okay.
visible.
Thank you. Yeah. We've been getting a lot of queries about how to register because the registration part of ICPC is a little tricky, especially if you're the first, if it's your first time. So what you need to do, and the first thing and the most fundamental thing you need to understand is that your team has to be registered entirely by the coach. It's not possible for any of the three members of the team to register themselves. So the first thing you need to do is contact a professor or any other faculty, as Vikash mentioned, and ask them to be your coach. So typically, what the coach will do in that case is give you their credentials to their ICPC global account. So using that, you have to create a coach account, and after you've created the coach account, this is what the dashboard will look like. Now, once you are in the coach account, what you can do is if you wish to create a team, uh, I iterate that you need to create separate teams for each regional that you are appearing in. For example, as we've registered for Amritapuri and Kanpur, for both of those regionals, we had to create separate teams with the same name. But you have to click this create a team button 2 times. So suppose let's say I want to register for the Chennai regional. So I'll click on create a team from the coach account. I'm mentioning this once again. And over here, what you need to do is mention your institution. So in this case, it will be Jadavpur University or Jadavpur University, Kolkata. Both of these are recognized as the same institution. Then you just fill in your team name here, and then about this, so what you should do and the recommended way of doing this, what we would suggest is each team member should go onto this website ICPC Global and then register themselves using their email ID and their name. It's a very simple registration process. We just follow the steps, it'll be quite clear. Once you've done that, just register and keep it like that. So if you're registered, if from the coach account, if you enter your email here, sorry, yeah, if you do that, then in that case you'll find this showing up in this drop down box if you are registered. So you can click this and set the person here as well. The other way to do this is if you're not registered already, if your email ID hasn't already been registered with ICPC .global, then you could click on register a new person over here, and then in place of username, just enter your email ID, your title, Mr. Miss, whatever, your first name, last name, and your gender, and just click save. This both of these methods work, but the recommended method would be to just go and register yourself on the website before doing this entire thing. Also, one query that we received was that once you registered, you weren't able to see the degree details portion in your profile page. What happens is that only shows up once you are invited by a coach to join a team. So don't worry if that doesn't show up on your profile as soon as you register. Wait, once the coach registration has been done, so once you've created this entire team and then clicked on register teams, what will happen is once you go to the dashboard, you'll find this kind of a entry in your dashboard, your teams, and this will obviously show that your team status is pending. So you can go here, click on either, let's say Amrit Puri, and then over here what will happen is you'll find all these details. This status will be either pending or whatever. If it's approved, then it will change to accepted. And what you need to do here is go to the billing section. So for Amrita Puri, the link is already mentioned here, so you can follow this. But it varies per regional. For example, if in case I was looking at Kanpur, let's say, instead of Amritpuri, then on going to the billing section, you would not find any billing information. What you need to do in that case is just do a simple Google search. So maybe ICPC Kanpur fee payment. And once you Google, you'll basically be redirected to the correct site. You'll see Kanpur India ICPC, it'll be something like that, Chennai India ICPC. So just click on it, and there'll be a banner link somewhere mentioning that, okay, this is how, click here to register, and then fill all the details. One important thing to mention here is that sometimes you'll see that in these Google forms that they'll ask you to fill, they'll ask you for the payment details. So there's a bank number that's mentioned here. I think if I click here, I can show you. Yeah, so if you click on this Google form, what you'll see is there'll be one portion where they tell you to upload a screenshot of a Google Pay um, transaction proof, and this is the account name where you need to submit or like transfer the money. I just use UPI, so using Google Pay, there's a very simple way to transfer money to a bank account. So once you do that, just take a screenshot of it, attach it to the Google form, and also it will ask you for something called your ICPC team ID. So for that, what you need to do is once you're on this team page, I'm just showing you once again. Once you're here and you click on the team, let's say Kanpur team, and on this team page, you see this number on the top. It's your URL bar. That number is basically your ICPC team ID. Copy it and place it on that wherever the Google form asks for it, and you'll be fine. And once you're done and the payment has been made and you've filled all the Google forms, etc., you just got to wait, and then after a few days you'll see that the stream status changes to accepted, or if not, you can contact whatever help channels or email they provide and ask them for clarification. Although it's a very simple process, once this portion is done, it usually takes about 2 to 3 days before everything is accepted and you are good to go. So that's pretty much it. Back to you, Vikash.
Yeah, sure. Om, can you share your screen once again? The presentation. Okay, so as mentioned here, so we will be sharing this PPT. So once, as we have reiterated multiple times, the registration has to be done by your coach. No, does the coach need to fill the payment details? No, the payment details have to be filled by any of your team members. Any of your team members would do that. The coach only needs to register your team on the ICPC.global website. That is the main important point. The coach should, I repeat, the coach should register your team on the ICPC.global website. Now there can be multiple ways of doing that. Either you can like ask your coach to share his, like, whoever, whichever professor you ask to create the to be the coach, like you can ask him to share his ICPC.global credentials, and then you can like log in into his account and do the registration yourself, which is what we have been doing since the past few years. Or if your coach doesn't want to share his credentials, then you can ask him to like come in a Google Meet or something like that, and then he can do your registration. Like, I personally know a professor from IT whose name is Karthik Chandra Mondal, KCM sir. He knows, like, he has been an ICPC coach for the past 2 to 3 years, and like he can himself do the registrations for multiple teams. So if you are from Salt Lake campus, you can contact KCM sir. He's a IT department professor. Now, as once the registration is done, what is the attachment section for after billing? The attachment section is basically like once you have given your contest. So if there are any certificates that you would have won, that would be like that would be uploaded there. You can download it from there. Like once the contest is done. Now coming to resources to practice on ICPC, we have like collected a few links that are present here. So there are 6 links, where the fourth link is basically the ICPC, a sample ICPC reference book for your regionals. You can ignore that. And apart from that, there are 5 links where you can practice for your ICPC prelims and all of that. So especially the third link is the Code Forces group. It is an Indian ICPC camp group that is currently being ongoing. Like our team also has been giving their contest, and like it is a very good practice session. Like you should practice as a team collectively for like multiple times to like coordinate yourself well enough for the prelims and maybe the regionals if you get selected. You can move to the next slide. Now coming to tips for ICPC, the first and the obvious point is like prepare as a team. Like it is not a one-man show. You are 3 people, and like especially for the prelims, like as you get 3 accounts, so like 3 people can work on 3 separate problems independently. And as prelims only like the max number of problems in a prelim is say 6 to 7. Like there are minimum 4 problems and maximum there would be 6 to 7 problems. So like you need to be accurate and fast enough to get a chance to go for the regionals. So you have need to have proper coordination so that like 3 people can work on 3 separate problems simultaneously. And the second, and which is the most important point in my opinion, is you should definitely distribute topics among yourselves. So like there are 3 peoples, and like there are multiple topics in a like in competitive programming. So we have dynamic programming, we have graphs, we have strings, we have say searching, sorting, math, geometry, so on and so forth. So you should split topics among yourselves. Say one person does graphs, one does maths, one does geometry, and one does dynamic programming. So like each person specializes in a particular topic, which makes it like you can cover a lot of topics in one go. And this is more important, I would say, for regionals where there is like a 5 hour contest and you get 10 to 12 problems. So there are problems present on a variety of topic. So for that you need to have your team needs to cover up a diverse range of topics. However, for prelims, I would say like having good team coordination is the key to go. And the third point is like obviously you should give weekly contests together and bond well. Like you need to like uh, you need to distribute tasks among yourself. And like one more important thing I would say is debugging. Say one of your team members is coding up some solution, and like there are certain edge cases that fails. So there should be one team member of yours who is making edge cases in the background, or like multiple test cases in the background to test your solution. This is one important point to check your accuracy. So you should give like weekly contest, like you should give like say one contest every weekend to check your team coordination. This is very much important, especially for prelims. And the fourth point is mainly for say if you go to the offline regionals. So if you reach the offline regionals, like take some time to like talk to other people, like discuss solutions among themselves, even after the contest is done, and like, you can basically network with people. So that's all for the tips. And yeah, finally the
Yeah.
Q&A. So
Because I think we had a question from like Mega Crew. And he said that okay, so one coach is able to register any number of teams. This is something that is a bit debated. So technically speaking, probably yes. But in our experience, what we would suggest is having one coach per team makes the thing go a lot smoother. So if you have, let's say, a single person who is coaching your team, that is better because previously there have been cases where having to one coach register two teams is causing slight issues. So it's better if you just approach one coach who is not coaching someone else, and he'd add you three. Yeah, both all three of you will be added by the same coach.
yeah,
I think
that's
that
well
answers
said.
your question.
In the ICPC website, should
Um,
we put no,
no,
your
no,
username can be
your
anything.
no,
Yeah.
your username needs to be your email ID. Your username in your ICPC website has to be your email ID. You don't have any other username. I hope that's clear because you are identified by your email ID basically. Okay. Any other questions?
If you have any questions, you can write
Yeah,
in the
you
chat, or
can
you
like
can unmute
unmute.
yourself.
You can unmute yourselves and ask.
Is it okay to opt for ICPC? Yeah, definitely. So,
Sure.
like, it will be a learning experience, and like you get to collaborate with your classmates, batchmates, or some like senior, junior, whoever you decide to team up with. So, like, it is a very nice experience. And bonus points if you get to the regionals, that is a lot of fun.
Yeah, terrible fun.
It won't be fun if you cannot get your train tickets done, but apart
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that, it should be very fun.
That's the next challenge.
Suppose we three are
Three
giving
are
a
giving
link
you.
again. Uh,
No,
okay,
no.
so
See, okay.
yeah, I
Do
can
you want to
answer.
take the question?
You can take it.
Okay, okay. So what happens is in prelims, all three of you are actually registering. I mean, logging in through the same account. So there's one account by your team name. So let's say takeabyte. So all three of us from our respective houses, we would be logging in through the same takeabyte account. So irrespective of whoever submits, it doesn't matter. All the three submissions are being, logged against the same team basically. There is no limit to the amount of times you can attempt or qualify for each of those. You can
No,
attempt or qualify.
there is actually a limit, but
There is.
the limit is basically you can there is no limit to attempt for online prelims. However,
Achha.
there is a limit on the regional qualification, which is 5 years. But like as it is it is a college level programming contest, and like
Yeah, you should
you only have
never get
4 years
to.
in your bachelor's degree. So unless you go do a master's or something like that, and then you qualify every year, I don't think that limit would be anywhere close.
Yeah.
Is the team
Yes.
is created by the coach? Yeah, the team is created by the coach. Like we did explain the registration process, and like if you are late joining to the meet, we will be sharing the recording as well, so you can see that afterwards. We will be sharing the PPT and all the recordings.
Hmm. So you can refer to that.
Can we communicate with one another? Well, yeah, obviously you have to
You
communicate
need
with
to.
each
You
other.
have to.
You can either go to one of your friends' house, or you can like collaborate on Gmeet or some kind of online meet. How can first years contact professors? Like you have to visit college. Like just go to some any of your department professors, or like any professor. Professors are helpful. Like almost all of them, I guess. So they should be helpful enough to like help you out regarding the same. And coming to how should I start as a beginner? Beginner as in like you need to know some coding language, any of the coding language, and you need to find two more people that can team up with you, and then you can start giving contest and solving problems, say, on lead code, code safe, code forces. That is the way to start as a beginner.
C++.
uh, okay, so the best language for CP. So I would say C++ with respect to, this is a very important point in with respect to ICPC. So for the ICPC Indian prelims and regionals, uh, it is guaranteed that all questions have a solution in C++. Some questions may or may not have solutions in Python or Java. But like that is very rare the case. Like in Indian ICPC, C++, Java, and Python is allowed. So you can choose any of them. I don't think JavaScript is allowed in ICPC. I repeat, C++, Java, and Python. These are the four languages that are allowed in ICPC. And according to, if you ask any of us, we would say that C++ would be the best language with respect to the amount of resources that it has for reference. And the level of questions will be random, or like like the questions are not ordered in the prelims or regionals. They are randomly distributed. So like there is no ascending or descending order of difficulty. And yeah, that answers your question, I guess. Mm, Again, for fresher, how can we contact any professor as course? Like you need to visit the college and like go to whatever department you are in. You can go to the like your departmental like room and ask any of your professor to like become your coach. And or you can also try asking any CS or IT professors for the course. So yeah, if you are not in Kolkata, yeah, that is true. So you need to take time to visit Kolkata once. There is no other option. And like there is a like the ICPC registration is open till say 7th of November. So you have like about 15 days left. So no issues on that side.
Okay, so
And
Sharmil
yeah,
is asking, I joined a bit late. Did you discuss how the team actually collaborates in the online prelims? Like, how is the work divided? So yeah, Vikash actually gave some very helpful tips about how to, strategize among a team and then how to collaborate. This usually comes into play more when you are at the regional level. So if it's a 5 hour contest, um, if you're thinking about prelims, then in that case probably division of topics isn't that big of a concern. It's more about you know how well you are able to coordinate with each other, because the questions most probably will be easy, but you will have to be accurate and fast. So teamwork is key. Selection rules for each site is not very different but slightly different, yes. Is DSA enough? um, that's a tricky question. I mean, like, if you are able to cover the entirety of DSA, then definitely it's enough. But apart from that, uh, yeah, everything you get in ICPC. I mean, if we see the question that way, then yes, every question that there is in ICPC is just algorithm related. There's nothing like any development knowledge or stuff that you need to know. So yeah, you just need to prepare algorithms.
and yeah, someone asked that they are not from engineering faculty, but can they contact CS or IT professor? Yeah, definitely you can. You can contact
I
any
think I think
professor. It
I
should
think
be
we
a
can
professor
contact
from JU.
professors from. Yeah, their department also will work, right? Like physics professor
You can
department.
contact any professor from your college, like from JU. The professor should be from JU, and apart from that, there is no other criteria. And coming to Sumiti asked regarding selection rules. So, if needed, I will elaborate it later in the meeting, but we will cover the rest questions now. So Rishabh asked the difficulty level of prelims with respect to code forces contest. Like it varies from year to year. So like as far as I remember, so we also participated in the prelims last to last year. That was in 2020, late 2022, where like we had a separate contest for Kanpur and Amritapuri. The Kanpur prelims was like downright horrible. So it was like a diff for code forces contest, and like there were 1,000 teams and say 500 teams solved all the questions. So that was like one in a million moment, having such a easy problem set. And apart from, like as I said, it varies from year to year, but like the first two questions are easy doable, like diff 3, around diff 3, and the rest of the questions are say diff 2 cd,
Yeah,
something like that.
I think the hardest question is something around diff to E or F.
Yeah, like the first two questions are diff 3 level. Like the first question is obviously diff 3 level, and first two questions are diff 3 level and the rest are diff 2 or 1. And you don't need to worry about the difficulty level and all of that, because ICPC does conduct a practice contest. Like a practice contest is conducted like 1 day or 2 day before the actual main online prelims, so you can take part in the practice contest and get familiarized with the platform and the question level and all of that. And to solve 3 to 4 questions in the prelims, the topic you would advise, Upan, would you like to answer that?
Well, to solve 3 to 4 questions, if we take the example of the previous year, so there were 5 questions in total. And the fourth question, I believe, was something related to graphs and binary lifting. So
Yeah.
if you want to solve 4 questions, then you'd have to have, I think, a good grip on greedy, most importantly. Be able to, identify greedy ideas and prove them reasonably quickly. Dynamic programming is one topic you must definitely focus upon. Basics of graphs, cycle finding stuff, uh, shortest path algorithms, and others. And apart from that, you don't need to really know very high level stuff, but whatever you know, you need to know it well. That's what I'd say. I mean, just give Div 3 contests or Div 2 contests, you'll get a very good idea.
And coming to like specifically mentioning 3 to 4 questions, so if you manage to solve 4 questions in a prelims, you would probably end up getting a top 25 rank. So there is
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
And like you should just target like say solving 50% of the question. That is a good enough target.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for that, you will need like a very strong grasp of basic DSS, sorting, searching, greedy algorithms, ad hoc problems like construction and all of that, and
Oh, yeah,
dynamic
constructions.
programming. Yeah,
Okay.
dynamic programming. I wouldn't say graphs, because like graphs is usually the fourth and the or the fifth question, but DP and basic DSC should be strong enough. As I said, greedy, constructive, and ad hocs. And a very good source of that would be CodeChef contests. So start giving CodeChef contests. They contain like, because the the setters of the CodeChef contest are also like they are also Indian setters, which is the same for the Indian ICPC. So there are a lot of constructive and ad hoc questions, especially in the div 3 and 4 levels of the CodeChef contest. So you can try that. And Code Forces, as usual, is a very good source as well.
So
Yeah.
here we have a question that can I make different teams for different regions? That is, do you know if we can do that? I've never really wondered that. Um,
Uh, can you repeat the question? Can you make different team for different
Different teams for
reasons? No,
different
you cannot.
regions.
No, you
Yeah,
cannot.
I
You
don't
can
think that's
only make
allowed,
one
right?
team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
that
to
is not
have the
allowed.
one team.
There should be like the team composition should remain the same. You can change your team name if that is what you are interested in, but the composition will remain same. And apart from that, is it like
No
one
one knows
person
whether
does the
there are five
major
questions or
result?
six.
Yeah, just a minute. So
Yeah, yeah.
no, like for Sagnik, like one like it is obviously beneficial if one person does the same code, because like multiple people doing parts of the code would be like very much time consuming. What we do generally do is one person does the code, and the other there is one person that is preparing all the test cases. That is what we usually do. And Aritra is asking if there is any professor from CSC who can be a coach. Upan or Om, any of one of you who can answer.
Um, there are loads of professors. You have, I guess, Shorvani ma'am is there. There's Chandri ma'am. could approach me, Barun sir, all of these, any professor. So what I'd suggest is just go to, if you haven't been to college yet, you can just go to jadavpuruniversity.in, go to the CSE department page, get a list of all professors there are, and then just mail any of them. I think whoever you mail is going to be more than happy to, be your coach.
And Ankit was asking, how can we practice team-based coordination in CP? So we get many individual contests. So like what we do is the same. Like we pick up any individual contest and like we practice it as a team. So we
Yeah.
do that. So like save some say 3 to 4 hours on a weekend. You can sit down together, like visit your friend's house, or you can collaborate on a Gmeet and then start solving questions from a single contest simultaneously. Like consider it as a team contest. That is what you can do. And there are team contests on Code Forces, so you can make a team on Code Forces and like you can have virtual participation there. So as like in the resources slide that we had, the third link that was present of the Code Forces group, it is of a like a ICPC camp where there are multiple team contests present. You can go and practice that. And the other which reasons you opted for, Uma has answered. We have been participating in Amritapuri and Kanpur. And can we make different teams? We have answered that. So previous year, what was the number of question barrier to pass the prelims? So as I
Three
said, like
questions, I
last year
said.
we had 5 questions. We had 5 questions, and okay, so like I will come to the selection criteria now. So please pay attention to that. So like for Kanpur and Chennai, as I had mentioned before, there are 100 teams. Like there are 100 slots. So what Kanpur and Chennai does is they prepare their own rank list. The top 10 teams are directly qualified for the regional. I repeat, the top 10 teams are directly qualified for the regional and with a limit that maximum of 3 teams per college. Like say in the top 10, there are 5 teams from IIT KGP. The top 3 will be selected, the rest 2 will be discarded. So the top 10 teams from Kanpur and Chennai, they are directly qualified for their regional, keeping in mind the maximum of 3 teams per college criteria. After that, for the remaining teams, the first team per unique college is selected. I repeat, the first team per unique college is selected. So that means like from JU say if there is no team in the top 10 for Kanpur and Chennai, then the first team per college will be selected. And that depends on the passing criteria depends on how much like amount of question that team has solved and the time that team has taken. So there is that. And for Amritapuri, like Amritapuri is very dynamic. So for the last to last year, they had like something like the top 30 teams qualify and then 1 team per college. But in the last year, what Amritapuri did was, so don't consider it very seriously, but last year was a very rare case. So what happened in last year was there were say around 2000 teams and there were 5 questions and only 130 teams managed to solve three or more questions out of 5. Only 130 teams managed to solve 50% of the questions. So what Amritapuri did was they selected all of the 130 teams, once again keeping in mind that maximum of 3 teams per colleges. And after the 130 teams were selected, then again the first team per college that was selected. This was for last year only. As I said, Amritapuri criteria is very dynamic and they decide the criteria after the prelims are done. So I guess that answers their question. And one more thing I would like to like mention is in ICPC, uh, like there is each of the question has like the score of every question is 1 point. Like you get 1 point per question if you solve it correctly, and there is a 20 minutes of time penalty per wrong submission until a correct submission. So keep that in mind. That is a very important factor that if you make a wrong submission for a question and then you go on and solve it, you get a 20-minute penalty, time penalty for that question. And for a 2 hours contest, 20 minutes is a very, very large time penalty. Like recovering from that is very difficult.
Yeah.
So before submitting any question, like test your solutions very much well. And coming to what Megaku is asking, what is your team strategy? Like who would be doing which questions and how would you be selecting the questions? And okay, so like for prelims there are say 5 questions, so it is very easy to find out the easiest question. Or one one very stupid trick that we use is let's just keep refreshing the contest page. The question with the highest score, just pick that up. So by like the question with the highest score, obviously that is most likely the easiest question. So pick that up. And who would be doing which question? So like we have divisions among ourselves. Say NEDP question that is taken up by Upayan, and who would be reviewing the question from our teammates before submitting. So yeah,
Definitely.
either Om, either Om or I, we any of us will be making the test cases, and then whatever test case we would have made, we ask Upan to run his code on that, and then we verify the same. That is what we do.
So yeah,
Is
I'd
it
like to
like
add that there's,
yeah?
I mean, he's asked, should we review our question from our teammates before submitting? I think it's a that's very important. So it's not, you know, advisable that you are, you know, going ahead and solving something and submitting it on your own. Always make sure that your teammates are on board with whatever you're doing, what your ideas are, because you know that's collaboration is one of the main parts about this contest. Don't treat it as something as you're doing alone.
So what we basically do is like we take part in the online prelims from our home, and we collaborate on a Google Meet. So what we do is the person who is coding, he shares his screen, and there is one person who is looking at the code and verifying all the details if they are correct or not. That is what we do. And if you're at your friend's house or somewhere like that, there, then you can directly view the code from his laptop. And coming to what Rishabh said, is it like if
Okay,
I comes to WA, then the contest, like saying that the
but that's
contest
not.
is over for me is a very far stretch. Like,
No. Like what he's asking is he's thinking that the so initially you have a 120 minutes to solve. Every time you give a wrong submission, 20 minutes is deducted from that.
okay,
That's not
okay,
how it
okay.
works.
Yeah, no,
That's not
that's
how it
not how it works.
works.
Yeah, open, go ahead.
You'll have 120 minutes to attempt everything, but there is a parameter called the time penalty, and time penalty is calculated as the sum of times you took to solve a problem. So suppose let's say there are five problems. I solved the first problem. Our team solves the first problem at 5 minutes, the second problem at 10 minutes, the third problem at 15 minutes. So then, for now, our time penalty is 5 plus 10 plus 15, which is 30 minutes. That is 30 minutes of time penalty that we have. What happens is we've solved three questions. Let's say there are 10 other teams who have also solved three questions. And the ties between these three teams are broken by that amount, which is time penalty. And then this time penalty increases by 20 minutes every time you make a wrong submission. So that is what it means. It's not like your timer goes down by 20 minutes whenever you make a wrong submission. You'll get to, you know, submit for the entire 2 hours. I hope that's like answers your question.
How to make test cases and verify your code.
Prakash,
So
go
like,
ahead.
yeah. So like making test cases is like you just need to understand up like you just need to understand the problem statement well enough to make a test case. So like I will take a simple example. See, there is a question that asks you like say there are three numbers A, B, and C. You need to say whether the product of A and B is greater than C. Like A into B should be greater than or equal to C. Say this is the question. You need to print true or false. If A into B is greater than or equal to C, you print true, else you print false. So making test cases for this is pretty simple. So like you just take random numbers and uh, you check whether the condition is satisfied or not. Now coming to how you make edge cases, like corner cases where your code can fail. So for that you need to look up on the constraints. So like you need to check whether there are like negative numbers present, or whether like you will be storing variables in a like in an integer variable or something like that. You need to check whether the product will exceed the limit of an integer. So like an integer can store up to 1 values up to 1 So if A and B itself are 1 and 1 the product can go up to 118, 10 power 18, which you cannot store in a integer variable. So you need to take long or double or something like that. These are edge cases. Like you need to take either the lower amount of like the lowest of the constants or the highest of the constants, and then check, make test cases upon that and check whether your code passes or not. This is how you make test cases. I guess that answers the question. And what level of CF problem should we be able to solve for standing a chance in the qualification? Okay, so I would again there is no such fixed criteria for that, but I would say if like say you can solve up to say for a div2 contest, if you can solve up to say a B or a C of a div2 contest, that if your team collectively can come up to a div2 C, then diff to B or C, then I would say that is a very like a pretty good team strength that you have currently. That should be good enough for qualification. And apart from that, it itself depends upon the teams that are taking part every year. So for
Yeah.
example, like we were in our first year, we had B for brute force, who then went on to the white levels. So they were masters and international masters, and they could solve up to diff 2 E or F or something like that. So like so when we were in first year, our target was that we should not coincide our regionals with their regionals, because
Yeah.
we knew that we won't be able to beat them,
There was no
and it is
chance.
depending upon their level. So there is that. And apart from that, as I said, if your team can collectively solve a diff to B, like in a diff 2 put forces contest, if your team can collectively solve a B or a C, then that should be a good enough level. Should we make test cases and manually verify them manually? Yeah, you make a test case by pen or pencil, like in a rough copy or in a notebook or something like that. You find out its answer, and then the code that you have written, you run the same test case in the code, and then check whether the answer is matching or not. That is how we do. Okay, that answers that your question. And what Samyadeep said, I believe that is not true. That is definitely not true.
Not true.
Any other questions? Uh, if no one has any other question, then we would probably close the meet in the next 5 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat or unmute yourself. And yeah, we hope that the session was helpful for you. We will
Yeah.
be sharing the recordings and the PPT links and all of that after the session. And yeah, we will suggest to take part in the like in the ICPC prelims, at least the prelims this year. Like it is a very fun experience. Like we have been taking part for the last 3 years, and we were only able to reach the regionals the last year. And luckily, we also managed to qualify for Asia West last year as well. So, and regionals is a very fun experience. Can you please send this link in the PDF? Yeah, we will be sending it after the session, surely. Okay, if no one has any questions, then we can end the meet. Thank you for attending. Okay, Mukut has a question. How do we prepare for a diff to B or C? Who can only do A? Like the only solution to that is just practicing questions, practicing a lot of questions, covering a lot of topics. So like uh, basically, like as I said, you need to have like a strong understanding of basic DSA, that is sorting, searching, and all of that. And yeah, solving is very important. So if you give a contest, say you solved up to B, you could not solve C. After the contest the next day, spend 2 to 3 hours trying to solve C or D or something like that. Try to like, and if you cannot solve, read other people's solution, the editorial and all of that. Like watch hints, or you can at first watch hints, like read the tags for a question. Say if a question uses say dynamic programming, like if you know DP, then try to think how you can use DP, and like try like this for a while. And if you cannot, then definitely read the tutorial and try to understand the underlying logic behind the problem. That's how you can prepare for the much harder problems. Okay, I guess that answers the question. So we will be ending the meet now. Yeah, thank you for attending, everyone.